Oh, coffee, coffee, coffee. Welcome to Rebuild Projects. This is your week 13 update where we're going to have a little bit of a boat talk and a little bit of a budget update. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, we've done pretty much an amazing job. At week 13, we've taken this old boat and we've turned it into, we finished the hull. With last episode, working on the bow tip there, I can say that the majority of the hull has fully been completed. I have a little bit of fiberglassing to do in the helm, and I'll get into that in a second, at the captain's area. And I'm making a back seating bench. It's going to cover some of the mechanicals and the fuel tank and stuff like that in the back. But once that's done, I'd say all the fiberglassing is finished, which is, I'm looking forward to that. You spend 2 or 3 months fiberglassing and sanding and... Let's start off with the next episode where we are working on the helm. And these are all the various things that we need to do to get that helm or the console buttoned up. Now, I've spent the last month or so, cherry picking deals and discounts that I find, whether it's auctions or flea markets or some of my honey holes. But I've picked up all the various things, and I'll go over that in the budget in a second. But basically, everything that I need at the helm, so that's all the chart plotter and the switching and all the gauges and everything that I need to fit into a kind of a console or a pod, I now have. So I can kind of like take all the dimensions of all those things, play with the pitches, and now finally fiberglass that in and do a little template and figure out where everything needs to go. I also can create a shroud so that the water will not get on it and ruin that. So that is going to be an episode in itself, Helm Station. We're going to follow that up with another episode, Sleeper Cabin. So all the stuff here is I have to get done in the sleeper cabin, which is going to be not only, buttoning up that anchor that we talked about last episode, but creating a V-berth, a little sleeping area / seating area that's going to have storage in it and a place for batteries and for hopefully a little diesel heater. But we got to insulate the whole sleeper cabin, not only we'll call it the walls, but the sides of the hull, but also the ceiling or the bottom of the bow cap. So there's all that insulating that's got to take place. We got to create a little locker for all the electrical, so that'll be the back of the console. And we just want to pretty it up a little bit. So I'm going to create paneling, not only for the ceiling, but for the sides, and upholster all that with some fabric that I found. As well as we're going to take some foam that I bought, cut foam for the V-berth, and then create kind of like a cover for that. Maybe some pillows, but anyways, sleeper cabin. So that's a whole other episode. After we get the sleeper cabin done, we're going to jump back into the bow hatch tent. So I picked up that sewing machine that I was talking about last episode, a bunch of accessories and whatnot, and we are going to sew ourselves 2 tent covers, a spare just in case one doesn't work out. And once we've sewed it all up, we're going to test it, not only for the fit, but we're going to test it with water to see how waterproof it is. So that's going to be an episode on itself. Then, I don't know where you are. I'm not wearing this because I want to be a lumberjack. Believe it or not, this is actually what I wear on a daily basis. But it just snowed here. It's March, and in my area, it snowed, and it is cold. So even with the heat in the shop, it's still freezing. But I figure in 3 or 4 weeks, spring will have sprung, and it will be beautiful outside, which means we can get the boat out of the shop. That's going to be great for a few reasons. The best is because, one, I haven't seen the boat out of the shop in a while. I can get it out and actually put it back where we brought the original boat in, and maybe we can do kind of like a split screen or something, and transpose the two. But we will be able to hopefully get some beautiful daylight shots of the boat as it sits right now. But it'll also allow me to do a final fairing outside in the daylight. If the weather permits, I like to use the daylight because I can see any imperfections, whether it be scratches or dimples or cellulite or wows, and we can really perfect all that. So that getting it sanded and into primer is going to be really cool to do. But when the boat is outside, I'll be able to get the shop cleaned out. But the biggest thing is make more space. Now, I've been going back and forth whether I roll and tip the boat as a final paint. There are some really good products out right now. Andy at Boatworks today has some really great products that not only allow everything to flow, they're additives that you really can't see the rolling marks or the tipping marks afterwards. But I truly think there is not a nicer way to finish a boat than spraying it. Now, like I said, I've been in construction for the last 20 years doing renovations and home builds, but I've been using my shop to build furniture for a long time. So I'm set up with a nice big 60-gallon compressor. I've got all the stuff to spray out furniture with lacquers and finishes. So I'm set up, so why not use it? I mean, I've been apprehensive because there just hasn't been the space, but if we can get the boat out, clear out all the extra tools and extra materials that I don't need, maybe move out a rack or two, then I think it'll give me enough space to plastic out the shop. I have ventilation, so I have HEPA filters, so we can get the ventilation in there. And then let's spray this boat. Let's make it look as good as it should. So that's going to be an episode in itself. That will take us to more of the mechanicals. So there's the fuel, plumbing, water systems, everything entailed there, and that's going to be one episode. We'll follow that up with the electrical systems. So that's not only the gauges and the chart plotters and all that various stuff and the transducers and the sonar, but the LED lighting and everything that needs to get done there. So a lot of wiring. We'll get the capstan going and, really all the various different things, wiring to the bilge pumps and all that. So that'll be an episode in itself. And then we're going to follow up at the very end with putting that outboard on and getting all the hydraulic steering system in. I bought a whole tune-up package that we're going to do ourselves. But then once it's tuned up, we're going to get that on the boat, hook up the hydraulic systems, get that fluid in there, and then wire everything up to the controls up at the captain's area. That'll be an episode in itself. So all that stuff. And then we're going to test this boat out. We're going to do a shakedown run. We're going to get it in the water, and we're going to see how this boat not only responds as a floating, stable vessel, but all those components that make your boat run well. We're going to figure out all the deficiencies, and we're going to fix those up. So that is pretty much about 9 to 10 weeks. 9 to 10 weeks from today, guys, is what is going to take us to get this boat in the water. And then after that, once we've done that shakedown, it might take two shakedowns to make sure everything is running well and fix all those deficiencies. We are then going to do a full episode on a trailer rebuild. So I have the old trailer. It would be really simple to go out and bring $5,000 for a new trailer, but I think I can weld up some extensions to the old trailer, whether put on new rollers or new bunks, whatever we decide to go with that at that point. Give that thing a sand and a spray to make it match the boat, but most importantly, We're going to get a whole new axle and suspension. Right now it doesn't have brakes, and in an ideal world, say I run a F-150 as my daily driver truck, I would love to be able to figure out a new axle with hubs that may run a 6x135 bolt pattern so that I could have my matching F-150 wheels and rims match the boat. And that would be great for spares as well, be able to have spares for the trailer and spares for the truck at the same time. I haven't dug deep into that. I know you can get adapters that will take, the 5-bolt pattern of most axles, boat and trailer axles, but I think there could be a way of adapting an F-150 hub. I don't know, but that's going to be a whole episode in itself. And then once we have that all taken care of, we're going to go straight into a hardtop build. Whether I use it or not, I don't know yet today, but I really want to build a hardtop, removable hardtop for the boat, and I'm going to build it out of another tonneau cover. I've got some ideas for that. So that's going to be an episode in itself. And then that should take us to the very end of the Back to the Future boat build. It'll be sad, but it'll be amazing because at the very end, we are going to go together on a nice trip, whether it be a weekend getaway, camping getaway on the boat, or maybe even longer. But that's gonna be the culmination of all this hard work. But that's not going to be the end, guys, because we are rebuild projects. We are not just rebuild boats. And I have a whopper, a doozy of a next project that I'm going to share with you between now and then. And I am super excited about it because it's not only something I've wanted to build for a long time, it is going to be super challenging for me. Put it this way, I'm learning how to weld aluminum just for this project, and it's going to be one of these things that I'll be able to look back on just like this boat and be super, super proud of, not only to share it with you, but just to own. It's going to be super cool. So now let's talk budget. Last week, or last episode, we were sitting around 10 grand. So the update for today is I needed to pick up a lot of stuff in the last month and a half. I've been trying my best to find the best deals, but they always don't come when you really need it. And I've needed a lot of components to get the console ready. I needed to know how I was going to lay out and the various different locations of stuff. So electrical wise, I've picked up all this stuff, but basically, like I said, I picked up the gauges and all the wiring and everything that is needed, switches and LED lights and all the various stuff to get the electrical done. That came to a whopping grand total of $1,200. So we have that in hand, ready to go. I got that steering package. I was going to get a whole kit, but when I started, I had a little bit of time, so I was able to break down what the kit entailed. And specifically, you could buy these kits, but then maybe the hydraulic steering ram wasn't what I wanted, because it wasn't able to be. Well, I wanted the bigger ram, but I didn't need all the other components. So actually, it was cheaper for me to wait and pick deals on the pump, the hoses, the ram that I wanted, and it came out cheaper than buying a kit with everything in one shebang. So the kit for the hydraulic steering system and a new steering wheel and all the fluid and stuff, that whole package, ended up costing me $800. And it would have normally cost probably about $1,500, but I got it all for about $8, so that brings us to about $2,000. Then the big purchase of the last month has been the navigation system. So that included the chart plotter. Well, my wish list was a chart plotter, a VHF radio, an antenna, a Navionics chip or card for North America. It also included a sonar and a transducer. But once I started pricing all that out, and I went to the boat show, and I went to a couple other places, and I was looking at between $5,000 and $8,000, even for a really basic system. I just can't afford that. So once I knew the new sticker price, I decided to look around, and I found a guy who was actually taking advantage of some of the deals you get when you go to these boat shows. And after him looking around, he had run Ray Marine for the last 4 or 5 years, and he was upgrading his whole system, and they were offering like a $7,000 cash back if he bought his whole $15,000 or $20,000 system. So he was letting go of his 12-inch chart plotter, Ray Marine chart plotter with a VHF Ray Marine radio that has AIS GPS. He has the antenna, all the wiring. So that's all the wiring, the backbone of the whole system, which is quite a bit when you start adding it all up. He also is selling his transducer, and it's a new transducer that he had not put on the boat yet. And because the chart plotter is a little bit older, it didn't have the transducer and all the sonar in the actual unit. So it has a control box separate, but he's including that. And what else? Yeah, I think all of that all together is going to be a package, and he sold it to me. I have it for $2,500. So that I can afford. It's a big price, a big sticker, but you know what? I think it's well worth it. And I've seen the chart plotter working. I've seen the radio working. I have not yet seen the transducer, but I'm taking a punt. And I think it's going to be perfect for our boat here. So that was another $2,500. So we're sitting at about $4,500 there, as well as I bought the sewing machine, accessories. I got the fabrics for the tent, the marine fabric. I also got fabric for all of the paneling that we're going to put into the sleeper cabin. I got some extra foam for the V-berth. All these things add up. So altogether, we're sitting at about $5,500 that in this last month that I've put. And that's kind of like searching all my favorites, Facebook Marketplace, auctions, been to a few flea markets, and a little honey hole that I haven't shared with you yet. I love picking stuff up at Habitat for Humanity. I don't know if you have one in your location. We have about 3 in driving distance. So whenever possible, whenever I'm close, I go in. I especially go in at the end of the month. Sometimes they have a 50% off if you go on the last day of the month. But you never know. I've been going there for years for building supplies because I've spent the last 20 years, renovating and building homes. That's my day job. But yeah, you find electrical, plumbing, fiberglass supplies. You'll never know what you're going to find because it's not only building supplies, it's all these donations. So big box stores donate extra stuff that they get rid of. Home Depot, Lowe's, you'll get, local suppliers that will donate to their local Habitat for Humanity. And not only are you helping out a charity, because that's what they are, but you're also, getting a great deal. So that's a honey hole for you. But we're sitting at about $16,000 so far. And if you've been following, I'm trying to keep this build down to about 20 grand. If I can keep it to 20 grand for the boat and maybe another 2 or 3 for the trailer, then I will be at a point where I'll feel not only that this was just a triumph in design and the boat of my dreams, but it'd also be amazing for the pocketbook. So now, I want to finish this off by just thanking everybody who subscribed last week. I want to let you know that I've got word that the mothership, the YouTube mothership, is on its way. And I am ready for it. We are ready to take this to Planet Partner and blast off. But I can feel it. I can feel it. The ship is coming. So thank you so much for subscribing. And if you haven't, I would love you to subscribe now, because we are well on our way to finishing this boat off. And I think we have a great future for rebuild projects, and I would love for you to be a part of it.
See you next time!